Hi, Scott Oyler here with Coldwell Banker West Shell, and I'm joined by Chris Finney. He's a partner with Finney, Stagnaro, Saba, and Patterson, and has represented several clients in successful property tax appeals. Welcome, and thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, before we talk a little bit about how to appeal your property taxes, can you just take a few minutes to talk about how property taxes are calculated, and maybe why they're a little bit high?
Sure. In Ohio, and really in every state, your property taxes are a product of multiplying the tax rate times the tax valuation. The tax rate is determined by a political process, by politicians, by the issues that are on the ballot each year that you vote for or against. Your tax valuation is a process that occurs every 3 years by the county auditor, and the county auditor assesses your property at what he thinks it's worth every 3 years. So they take those two numbers, the rate, the effective rate for your property times the valuation equals the taxes that you pay, and in Ohio it's every 6 months.
Okay. Now, Chris, if I log on to the auditor website and I feel that my house or my investment property is valued at higher than what I think I can sell it for today, I think it's a high value, what can I do to appeal that value?
Sure. First of all, the county auditor in Hamilton County has over 360,000 parcels to assess. And you might imagine if you're doing that many functions, you're going to get some of them wrong. So there's a process whereby in Ohio you can get that fixed. And each property owner has the right to have their property assessed at what it's worth. First question is, what's it worth? Well, it seems, again, obvious to say, but it's what it would sell for. And you have the right to appeal to the Board of Revision, which is a 3-member panel, and they make a determination as to what, based upon the evidence you present, what your property is worth. And you, if you're correct, you can get your valuation reduced. Let's say your valuation gets reduced 20%, then your taxes go down by 20% as well.
Okay. And when you talk about evidence, what kind of evidence is needed to support your case?
Yeah. For all properties, you can use what they call comparable sales. Those are actual sales of properties that are either in your neighborhood or that are comparable to the subject property, and that they are similar, so that you might have the same number of bedrooms, same number of bathrooms, same age of construction, and so on. But you need sales, not listings, not what the auditor thinks your neighbor's property is worth, but actual sales of properties, and that are relatively comparable to your property.
Okay. And is there a difference between residential and commercial, investment property in the process, or what you would present as evidence?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's just like what a buyer would consider or a bank would consider when they're lending on property. First, you want to know what are comparable properties selling for, but on income producing properties, you can also use the income approach. So they will look at the income versus the expenses times a capitalization rate, and that number becomes the valuation as well.
Okay. And when someone goes to appeal, do they need an attorney to represent them, or?
Yeah, well, the Supreme Court's gone back and forth on that, actually. If the property's owned in a corporate name, they used to say, yes, you have to have an attorney. There are some recent decisions that say, no, you don't need to have an attorney, at least for most of the purposes of the hearing, to fill out the complaint and present your evidence. But certainly a homeowner who owns a home in his individual name can file an appeal and present it on his own. Our firm actually presents some seminars to people to show them how to do this, and those are conducted January to March of each year. And you can go to our website at fssp-law.com. That's Frank, Sam, Paul-law.com. And there'll be dates and locations, and they're free seminars, so dates and locations for those free seminars. And we train you at those seminars both how to complete the complaint form, where to file it, and how to present your case to the Board of Revision. Okay,
great. And now, what if my house or property sold in the last 3 years and it sold for less than what it's currently valued? What's the...
When we teach these seminars, Scott, we actually call that free money.
Okay.
And it's a little bit overstated to say that, but essentially, a little complicated here, but the county auditor, the tax bill that you get in 2011, is based upon a value that was determined by the auditor effective as of 1/1/08, January the 1st of 08. And when he then that bill was actually mailed in January of '09, but it was retroactive valuation to January 1st of '08. When the county auditor came up with that number, he could only consider data through a certain cutoff date, because he had to cut it off and come up with the numbers. And that cutoff date was October 15th of '08. What that means is that tax bill you got in January of '11 did not take into account any sales, including sales of the subject property, that occurred after October 15th of '08. What that further means is if you've had a sale of your subject property and you bring that to the attention of the Board of Revision, by law, if it's an arm's length sale, they must reduce that valuation to the sale price. So you fill out the complaint form, you attach a copy of your contract of purchase and your closing statement, and if you do those things correctly, a lot of times you don't even need to have a hearing and you just get a refund check in the mail.
I like that.
It's, well, like I say, I save free money. A lot of people do it and they're very happy. A couple of them it doesn't work. And one of the reasons it doesn't work, because there are so many sales today that are what we call real estate owned or REO sales from banks, foreclosure sales, bankruptcy sales, and short sales. The boards of revision don't like those sales. They don't consider those to be arm's length sales. That doesn't mean that you can't get your value reduced. You still can. You simply have to present more evidence to the panel than just the sale. So there is tremendous opportunity, because so many sales are occurring right now that are below the auditor's value, to just fill out the form and get a refund check. It's kind of fun when you can help a client to grab a hold of that money.
Absolutely. Now, is there a certain cutoff date for folks that want to appeal their property taxes?
Yeah, March the 31st of each year in Ohio. So the tax bill you get in January of each year is appealable up until March the 31st of that year. And once March 31st goes, you're not allowed to appeal again until the next year. Okay. In Kentucky, the second week of May, you can go in for meetings with the property valuation administrator and try to get your valuations reduced over there.
Okay. And then finally, any tips or common mistakes you see people make when trying to appeal their taxes that you want to make someone aware of?
The Board of Revision is a very friendly process. You can go down there, you can win a case without an attorney. But they are sticklers for technicalities. So if you foul up the completion of your complaint form, they'll throw it out. Secondly, the kind of evidence you present. If you want to argue about either listings in your neighborhood, which are not sales, or what the auditor valued someone else's property for, the Board of Revision doesn't want to hear that. They want to hear comparable actual sale data and arm's length sale data. So those are some of the most common mistakes people make, is either fouling up the completion of their form, or they will present evidence that's really not relevant to what the Board of Revision wants to hear.
Okay. Well, if you need any information as far as sale comparables go, I'm happy to help you out. You can contact me at 513-623-1351 on my cell phone. And Chris, as you mentioned, has several seminars going on about how to appeal your property taxes in depth. And if you want to give your website one more time.
It's fsssp-law.com, and that the first four letters are Frank, Sam, Paul. fsssp-law.com.
All right, thanks, Chris. Appreciate you joining us.
I appreciate it.